Hi everyone, I hope you're all keeping well. As promised, I've got another reading today, and this is on the missing 4-year-old Gus Lamont. I'm going to say before I start that this is for entertainment purposes only. It's my thoughts and opinions, not fact. Now, this little boy's been missing from South Wales since the 27th of September this year. So his family live on a very remote sheep station 40 kilometres south of Yunta, and it's called Oak Park Station. One of his grandmothers and his mother was out herding sheep, working the land. His other grandmother was watching him at the time. I believe there was another child there too, because from what I can gather from what statements have been released, his grandmother was watching him, and around 5 p.m. he was playing in the mud. Nothing out of the ordinary, what he would normally be doing as a child in a remote area. By 5:30 p.m. she checked on him and he'd gone missing. Now, 30-minute window, you would think he couldn't get far, so the family started looking themselves. They'd been looking for around 3 hours before emergency services was called. Now, they haven't released any time that the call actually went in. It's just widely reported that this was a 3-hour window before anyone was contacted to go and help search for him. From reports, it also says that around 6:15 it got dark in the area. So you've got around 2 hours before anyone's been contacted. It's completely dark, and there's this little 4-year-old that's out there. From reports, I can also remember seeing that there was some sort of sandstorm in the area. The weather wasn't great, but the terrain itself doesn't really lend to children. I think if you look on the maps, it's quite rugged, quite dry, arid land. There's not much around there. And there's quite a lot of dust. I think there was some sort of dust storm on the evening that he went missing too. So anyway, there's quite a delay. By the time that the emergency services get there, because it's quite remote too, it's quite late in the evening, and they set up, and then it's the next day they start searching for this little boy properly. Now, the first question I've been through with the cards is, where is this little boy? And I'm going to talk you through it. So the first card I've got is, it's the mountain, which is one of the places from the archetypes deck. But when I drew this card, the mountain was downward. So I keep on being told he's down at the bottom of something. When I drew a second card for his location, I had the temple. And again, this card came out, the circular, so they can come out in any place. But both of these cards came out down. So I'm being told he's very low, he's at the bottom of something. What I hadn't realised was that there was another card which fell out on the floor. Now, I never ever put the cards back. If one falls, you have to leave it because it's trying to tell you something. Came out the right way up, but we had the bridge. So when I'm thinking about his location, I'm automatically being drawn, he's at the bottom of something, you've got to go down, and there's a bridge close by with some water. I'll go through the other cards first. So again, on location, one of the first cards that came out was this, the Queen of Gabriel. And this is when I was asking where this little boy was. Now, this card, I'm instantly drawn to the female character in this card, and I have to say I am convinced there is one woman at least that knows where this little boy is. I feel like around this little boy there's so many relationships that are really toxic, and I'm not saying that's just family. I feel like there's a third party connection here too, but I feel like the people around this young boy are quite toxic, and I've got, there's lots of arguments around him. I feel lots of disagreements, and I have to say I feel like there's this group of people around him. More than one female knows where he is, but I'll come on to that in a second. Another card that comes out is location, and this is the card, if anyone's done a missing item spread, you'll ask where the item is. The first card is where they are, and for that one I've got the Queen. That's telling me a female knows where he is. I also get a lot of connections to females, and I'm wondering if there's somewhere close by, because he's not too far from home, I don't feel, but if there's somewhere close by that's named after a significant female. I'm getting an almost church-like feel to her, like some sort of holy name, but somewhere that's named after a female or a saint possibly, but very local to where he is. It's not too far away. The second card is colours. Now the golds, the sands, this is what the area looks like around him, but I also have these two white horses on this card, the two of Michael. With this, you can see the two white horses coming towards each other, and I know a couple of other readers have mentioned that they feel like there's a white wall and it's broken, and this is the two white elements with a gap in between them. I'm not convinced it's a wall, but you have two structures, they're very clearly white, and there's a gap in between it, and that's close to where this little boy is. But I keep on getting a sense of water close by, or he's in the water. Now, symbols around him, we have this card, and if you look closely at the card, everything looks quite leave it up for a second there. You can see these lights and things, but everything looks quite celestial, quite surreal. The things coming up again, I feel like there's a church or some connection to a church close by, but I also feel as though there's some sort of something grown. It's like spikes, there's something sticking up, but it's quite long and narrow, and it's coming out the ground all around him. Now, something to be aware of whilst looking for the little boy, looking for Gus. And again, I'm drawn to the female in this card, and it's Gabriel again. So I do feel like there's at least two women who know where this little boy is. And the advice is telling me this female knows. She knows exactly where he is. And something to be mindful of whilst looking, basically a little bit about the outcome. And we have the page of Raphael, so you can see here there's a child, but part of this card, and the part of it that I'm really picking up on, is that there's a change in emotions, there's a change in the emotional circumstances, and I feel like, I don't feel as though this is going to be the best outcome. So again, moving on about where Gus is. So we have this card first, so the hangman, and this is a card of sacrifice, but from this card I'm feeling that he's trapped, and that's clarified because we have this card which is hooked, and you know, so this is telling me he's trapped, he's stuck to something. And we have the water again, so this card on his location, wasting time, no changes. I'm not sure if anyone's actually checked where this little boy, where, you know, they're telling me he is, but again, I'm drawn to this stuck. So you have like sort of the hangman, stuck, hooked. This little boy is trapped, but the final card I've drawn is this one, and it's freedom. So this little boy, Gus, whatever he's trapped on, whatever it is, he is going to be released from that. He's going to be set free, if you like. And I do genuinely feel that this little boy is going to be found. So moving on to sort of how did this unfold? What was he doing through the day? So the first card I have is this. This is the one that came out, this dirt digging. So his grandmother, when she's telling people, oh, he was out, he was playing in the mud, then yes, she's definitely been, to me, she's definitely been honest. That's what he was doing. And I do feel as though she's been very genuine as well when she's saying that, you know, he done it all the time because it's, you know, same shit, different day. This is nothing new for Gus. This is what he normally does. The next card I have is this card, this spouse partner. And I'm drawn to the fact that they're both looking away. So I feel as though this is that the grandma is looking elsewhere. And she just, you know, with children, if he's out there, if he's playing normally, you would, you know, if she's taken another child in, I don't think she's been neglectful or anything like that. I just feel like she's turned away for a little bit. Now, this is where things get really blurry for me, because I'm going to go on to something next, but I have this card, the runaway. So it's like he's run. I feel like he's doing it. He's wanting to take a little look at something. I feel like Nosy Parker. Not because he's naughty, just because he's a child, but there's something that's really caught his eye and he's wanting to take a look at it. I don't feel as though it's an animal either, it's something else, but he's wanting to get close up, and this is where things go wrong. Now, with that runaway card, and this is why it's blurred, I'm not sure whether Gus has actually already left, you know, the farm and sight from his grandparents, or whether he's still there, but it'll make sense in a minute when I come on to what's next. Now, this card, so what we have here is the 8 of Wands, and in this deck it's swiftness. Now with this, things happen very, very quickly, but I'm also drawn to the bicycle. I feel like there's some sort of bicycle or equipment around him at this point. He's going up, he wants to take a closer look at this. Second card that I have is the 6 of Swords. Now in a lot of cards this means travel, overseas travel. In this deck, what you have at the bottom is science. So this, again, with the bicycle that I'm being drawn to, is telling me there's some sort of machinery here. It could be farm equipment, it could be something that's going past on the road. I don't know how close that is, but it's something that this little boy wanted to take a closer look at, and he's got too close. He's got too close, because what we've got here is that he's sad, hurt and upset, and he's in tears. So it's like there's something out there, it's caught his eye, he's gone over to it, he's got too close and he's injured himself. And I also have this card too to corroborate that. So the accident card, something has gone wrong. Now this is where it gets to the point it's interesting, and like I said, because it's so blurred, I don't know if he's still on the property and we've got that runaway card, or he's left the property. But what I also have is the natural disaster. And again, this is linked to the accident, but what we have here is the stalker and being watched card to clarify. So someone actually saw this. Someone saw what happened to him. They know that he's hurt. They know that this little boy's upset. What happens next? So here we go. We have this, you know, you can see the cuddles on the card. Someone's trying to comfort, I feel. And I'm going to say I also feel there's more than one person here. Then we have this telephone call, but what I've got at the bottom is fraud. So again, with the fraud card, the next card is lies, and these two have both come out together. So a phone call's being made, lies are being told, and again, I'm not going to say who or what's doing it, because I genuinely don't know from this reading whether he's still on the land or he's left. And obviously you've got to be careful of what you say online anyway. The next card I have is this scarcity tactics, and this was the clarifier for the lies. What I have, it's like people are trying to save their own skin. What's happened to Gus has been an accident. He's got too close to something. It's been a genuine accident. But afterwards, this is when people start covering for themselves, and it's like they're trying to save their own skin here completely. interestingly, after that we have the Hanged Man again, and it's like the little boy's stuck. It's like he's got trapped in something. I feel like he's still stuck now. He's still trapped. There's something possibly around him, on him. But unfortunately, what I have, the world, this has led to an ending. So this situation's ended. Now, there's some other cards that came out here in the reading, which came out at different places, but all of them came out. After this, we have the ending card, death card. We also have this card, which is the assassination card. We have the homicide card too. And we also have this one, the body is hidden card. So he's tucked away where no one can see him. And you know, those cards, they just don't give you a good feeling about what's happening or what's happened to this little boy. Another couple of cards, I said there were some toxic relationships around this little boy, and I feel as though some of that toxicity maybe actually affected him in some way. And I feel like this isn't just his immediate family. I feel like this is third parties too. So there's people, you know, like family friends were possibly involved in family business or family arguments. And the two cards that I have here, the first one is cruelty, and it's the Nine of Swords. And sometimes with this card as well, I am going to say that it's like a nightmare card. So even though this says cruelty and we have the Nine of Swords, it's the nightmare card. So the nightmares, the worst possible case isn't what's happening, it's something similar. And we also have this card, so child services. So again, I don't feel as though this is an abused child. I feel as though this card's telling me is that he's at risk because of the situation that's happened. Now, as I said earlier, I don't believe this is one person involved. What we have here is this group involvement. And this, to me, connects to the lies, the deception, and also what's gone on after this accident. Because to me, the little boy's had an accident, he's been hurt, and where is he? Because I feel as though it's a group of people who've actually placed him where he is now. And we also have this, know too much and want to talk. Someone within this group wants to tell the authorities what's happening. And when I've tried to get clarity for that, sort of, what do they want to say? What we have here is the Thief card. And what I'm drawn to is the loss, the physical loss in this one. So someone knows what's happened, they know where he is, and they want to talk about it. And I can't help feeling as though maybe I keep getting the feeling of some sort of church around him, because it's like where people would lay a memorial or something around that. Now, these are interesting cards, and I don't know quite where they fit into this picture. But what I have are bad habits, which you can see are substances. This one, drugs, poison. At first I thought maybe, you know, an animal, but I feel like I'm really being drawn more to machinery and vehicles. And then you have this one, sort of drugs, alcohol or blood. Now with these cards, what I was asking was, what is relevant to the case? What do the police know that they're not giving me? And I'm wondering if this is possibly linking to some sort of DNA evidence, something that can be linked back to someone specifically when Gus is found. What I've also asked is, you know, again about the police, do they know something that they're not telling us about? And again, we have this bad reputation card, which I'm going to link in with the bad habits. But I'm also getting the home search around that. So the police have got some idea about these substances, about what's going on, and it came from a home search that they've done. What I also have is the neighbourhood card. And again, this to me is clarifying that whatever's happened to Gus, I just don't feel as though it was very far from where he is. I feel as though he's still quite close to the home. He hasn't gone too far. I'm not sure if there is any, I keep being drawn to water, and I'm not sure if there is any nearby, because it looks from the pictures like such a dry, arid location. I'm not sure if there would be any there, but wherever it is, there's two white structures, walls, and it's as though they're coming together, and then there's a gap in between, and again at the bottom. So back to what the police would know and they're not actually saying, this is again taking me to a building. Chaos. So something's happened in the building, or they feel something's happened in the home, and when I've tried to get to the bottom of this, they're saying, you know, I'm being told toxic, dangerous, unhealthy situation for a child to be in. Now, I'm not going to say that is in the home where Gus was, where he lived. It could be to do with family dynamics, a lot of it. I don't believe his mother and father, I don't believe it's those two, but there's some family fallout that I read in the newspapers. So maybe this is all the toxicity that's coming out around this little boy. Now, I believe that this little boy is going to be found. Like I said, it's like he's trapped, he's stuck at the minute, but there's freedom there. He is going to be released. I also have this card, guilty. So someone at least is going to be found guilty for what's happened to this little boy and his disappearance. When I asked about who it was, or who would be found guilty for Gus Lamont's disappearance, the first card I have is the Wheel of Fortune. Now this is telling me there's an element of luck or a twist of fate in this investigation, and whether that's finding Gus or finding the evidence to link these people to him, I'm not sure of, but there is an element of luck in this. People around him, so we have this man, the Emperor, who's going to be found guilty. Second person, we have this one, Princess of Discs. Then we have here the advice. There's a connection between these people. I do feel like at least two of them are a couple. And then we have this one, this card to the matriarch. Now, of those 5 cards, 3 of them were people. So I have 2 females and a dominant male that I feel are all going to be charged in the future with something that happened to this little boy. And the final card I've asked is, you know, what connects these people? Can you give me something about them? And what came out is this, the always partying card. Now, I'm going to link this back to the cards that came out around substances, drinks, alcohol. So yeah, these people seem to party hard. They take quite a lot of substances, but they will be caught. I don't feel as though it's going to be a quick case. I don't think it's going to be resolved quickly, but I do feel as though the police have some information on some buildings, home searches that they've done or they're planning to do around Gus, and and I do feel as though they will catch the people responsible for his disappearance. I do hope that I'm wrong with this reading and that little boy gets found alive and, you know, reunited with the family and he's kept safe and well, but I just have a really bad feeling around this case. Thank you.